Welcome. You are in the lab room. I'm your host, Luke. Thank you for joining me. Week number 15, National Football League. Another matchup here in week number 15 with playoff implications on the line. Chicago Bears on the road versus the Cleveland Browns. Browns are long gone, long out of the playoff discussion. However, they still can have an impact with some of the games that they have down the stretch. This being one of them against the Chicago Bears at home. Bears coming to the game at 7-6. A win would put them at 8-6 and would catapult them to first place in the NFC North Division, pending a Detroit Lions loss on Monday Night Football. But it doesn't matter. If they win, they will temporarily leapfrog those very Lions, go to first place, and be in the playoff picture in the NFC Conference. So huge game for the Chicago Bears coming into this game. Browns at 4-9 coming into this matchup, trying to play spoilers. They've been playing pretty good football of late. And Jason Campbell, the caretaker Campbell, has come in and steadied the ship since coming back off of that concussion. Josh Gordon, Flash Gordon, has been absolutely lights out, been one of the best receivers in the National Football League this season. JC Money, Jordan Cameron, been playing good football of late as well. Greg Little starting to come around. So you're getting guys starting to step up and fill in their roles. And this Cleveland Browns defense starting to play better. I think Joe Hayden, one of the best corners in the league. TJ Ward, an enforcer back there at safety. So you've got guys playing ball. We all know about DeQuell Jackson and how consistent he's been for this Browns football team over the years. And so that defensive line coming along. This Browns team, like I said, I got a special place in my heart for this Browns football team because they're young and they're talented. And you know what that does to me. I love seeing young and talented football teams coming along. You're just missing that one key cog, of course, that being the quarterback position. So got to address that in the offseason. But this is a dangerous Browns team. If you run into them on a day where they've got it all clicking, you could be in some serious trouble. Bears having Jay Cutler back for his first game in about 6 weeks or so. And I was one of the people that I thought, hey, Josh McCown playing at an extremely high level. This team is playing really well with him at the helm. I don't know if you want to mess up that continuity and that chemistry right now. I was one that was saying, hey, let Jay Cutler sit down right now and keep it going with Josh McCown. But give credit. This is why he's the head coach. You got to make some tough decisions. And he made a TD. He said, hey, when Jay is healthy, he's our guy. We're going back to Jay Cutler. Mark Tresman made that statement. And so here we are, week number 15, Bears, Browns, Cutler, back in the fold. Let's break it down through the eyes of me, Louie T. So 7-6 Bears, 4-9 Browns. After a solid drive, Cutler gets risky, and I'll come back to that later. Cutler gets risky, is a little too high for B. Marsh, and it is picked off by Tashawn Gibson. Leads to a field goal by Cleveland after a 44-yard Greg Little screen. It's 3-0 Cleveland, okay? And I'll talk about Jay Cutler here in a second, but let's keep going. Bears respond with a field goal drive of their own. It's knotted up at 3. J. Cam, the caretaker Campbell, picked off by Zachary Bowman. And so that sets the Bears up with some solid field position. They do nothing. They have to punt. All right, so the second interception of the game by Tashawn Gibson, this time a pick six. Cleveland takes a 10-3 lead. Time for me to talk about Jay Cutler. Okay, the first pick was in the end zone, so you're taking points off the scoreboard. Second pick directly leads to some Browns points. And all 10 of the Browns points to this juncture of the game, okay, again, 10-3 Browns. All points, all 10 points are off of Jay Cutler turnover. So Jay Cutler really costing his team right now. And, if you got the Jay Cutler apologists out there, they're going to argue he's rusty. He's coming off of a 6-game, 7-game hiatus. He's got to knock off the rust. Give him a chance. This is what Jay Cutler does, okay? This is what you get out of Jay Cutler. This isn't rust. This isn't Jay Cutler missing some games and him needing to get acclimated back to the speed of the game and get his timing back down with Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey. This is Jay Cutler. This has always been Jay Cutler. A gunslinger, a guy that's going to try to fit it in there Every now and again, the ball sails on him. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to make risky throws and decisions, and he's going to pay for it. And so is this Bears football team. So don't come with the, hey, he's rusty. Miss me. Please miss me with the Jay Cutler's rusty talk. Because this is simply a matter of Jay Cutler being Jay Cutler. These 2 picks early in the game. And honestly, I thought that the Bears were going to lose this game at this point. I actually thought the Browns had a legitimate shot. Because I thought Jay's going to have a lackluster game here. Jay's going to turn it over at least one more time. And if the Browns themselves can stay relatively turnover free, and they already have a pick here thrown by Jason Campbell, the caretaker Campbell. And so if they can just stay relatively turnover free for the rest of the game, they got a shot. That was my thinking. Bears have 4th down attempt and a 46-yard field goal negated by penalties. They go for it on 4th down. They pick it up. It's negated by a penalty. They kick a 46-yard field goal. They have another penalty. And this time it was holding. And that holding penalty pushes you back 10 yards. Now it's a 56-yard field goal. No way you attempt that. You got to punt. So not only did you negate a 4th down conversion on a 4th and short with a personal foul penalty, nonetheless, or excuse me, I think it was hands to the face. Either way, that or a false start. Either way, you negated the 4th down conversion. So now you got to settle for a field goal. You take that off the board. So you not only had a chance to get a touchdown by extending the drive, picking up that 4th down, not only did you have points on the board via a 46-yard field goal by Robbie Gould, you took points off the board with a couple of penalties. And again, if this isn't the Browns, this comes back to haunt you. But it's the Cleveland Browns. They're 4-9. You get where I'm going with this. It's okay. It's okay. But it's not okay. It's not okay. So normally this comes back to haunt you. Can't have this. Have to be more disciplined than that if you're Chicago. They end up punting the football. No points on that possession. Score is still 10-3 Cleveland. Deep ball to B. Marsh sets up a 5-yard touchdown to B. Marsh. As he knocks it up at 10, that's our score at the half. So as bad as the Bears have played, they've turned it over twice, one for a pick six, the other leading to a field goal. They had a 4th down conversion negated as well as a field goal make negated by penalties. As bad as you've played in this first half, you're tied at 10. Go figure, you're playing the Cleveland Browns. So you got to feel good about where you are if you're the Bears, because honestly, you haven't played well enough to be tied at the half, yet you are tied at the half. So we come into the second half. Zachary Bowman picks off Jason Campbell on the first possession of the second half, and he takes it the distance. Second pick of the game. This time, he makes Jason Campbell pay for making a mistake. Takes it to the house. 17-10, Chicago on top after the pick six by Zachary Bowman. Run-dominated drive by the Browns. They go in, Marquise Gray, their third-string tight end, ex-read option quarterback at Minnesota. Not Minnesota Vikings, the University of Minnesota. So he comes in, he runs a wildcat play, and is very successful on that. So they get excited, and they say, hey, run another one. This time they run read option because he was a quarterback in college at the University of Minnesota. So he has the ability to throw it. They run read option. He pulls it out, runs, gets another huge chunk of yardage, really sets this team up in great position to score. J-Cam also had a nice scramble to extend a possession or a drive on this possession. And so J-Cam's big scramble for a first down, a couple of Marquise Gray runs, and all of a sudden you're right down there, and a 3-yard touchdown run by Edwin Baker, first game as a Brown, just signed off the street. Ex-Michigan State product. It's 17-all. Great drive by the Browns as they ram it down the throat of the Chicago Bears. This is not a great Bears defense. And so they can be had. You can run the ball on them. They had given up something like 6 straight 100-yard rushers in a row in 6 consecutive games. And so even though the Browns don't have one guy that scares you, that can get you and get 100 yards by themselves, they ran the football collectively as a group on this possession. And I thought they needed to do more of that. I didn't think they ran the ball enough in this game. I think the Bears are extremely soft up front and can be ran on, and they didn't take advantage of that in this game. I thought they threw the football way too much with Jason Campbell, and that allowed the Bears to get away with that suspect run defense. But it's 17-all after that run-dominated drive that ends with a 3-yard touchdown for Cleveland. Cleveland strips Martellus Bennett of the football, and T.J. Ward scoops and scores it. It's 24-17, so an S&S for T.J. Ward results in a touchdown and a 24-17 lead for the Browns. Again, I'm thinking that these Cleveland Browns, they're a scary team at home. Ask New England last week in New England that they almost lost to this very Browns football team. This is a scary team. They're at home in this game. I'm thinking Cutler is going to – he's got one more mistake in him. That's what I'm thinking at this point. Browns are seriously in a good position to win this game. Poor defense by the Browns, and keep in mind, Joe Hayden is out of the game at this point with a hip pointer, not to return. And this is why the Browns are 4-9 right here. This is why this is a 4-9 football team. Poor defense leads to 3rd and 11, 45-yard moon ball touchdown to Alshon Jeffrey. Never trust a guy with 2 first names. He'll do you in every single time. Alshon Jeffrey did the Browns in on this particular play, and he's been doing defenses in all season long. And 3rd and 11, Cutler just throws it up for grabs, essentially. And this is what you get out of Jay Cutler. There are at least 2, possibly 3 Browns defenders on this play by the football. One mistimes his jump horribly. I liken this to the Denver Broncos playoff fiasco with Raheem Moore, where he mistimes his jump so poorly that he allows a 73-yard touchdown strike to tie the game and send it to overtime, where they ultimately lose to Jacoby Jones. I liken it to that. I mean, his jump was mistimed so poorly on this play that Alshon Jeffrey really didn't have to do much. It's almost like a fair catch. The guy in front of him mistimed his jump, and Alshon Jeffrey waited for the ball to fall into his arms. And there was another Browns defender there, and he just didn't do anything. I mean, it was a good catch by Alshon Jeffrey. He did go up and get it. But this should have never happened. This should have either been incomplete or picked off. But the Browns, being the 4-9 football team that they are, up by 7, in a really good position right now to win this game, blow it by allowing a 45-yard desperation heave to be completed on 3rd and 11 when you're going to get the football back because they're going to have to punt if you don't pick it off. It's now tied at 24. And at that point, the Bears smelt blood in the water. They realize they've got this Browns team reeling. They take advantage. Matt Forte dominated a drive, and he sets up a 4-yard TD grab by Earl Bennett. It's 31-24. So the Bears, they're starting to realize we can take this game. That's 2 straight scoring possessions, both resulting in touchdowns. Bears up 7, and then the Bears grind it out on the ground. A big 3rd and 7 run for Forte, and then the capper, the ice chipper, the game set matcher, 40-yard Michael Bush touchdown scamper, 38-24. Chicago up by 2 scores late in this ball game. Game's over. Browns score a late touchdown to make it interesting. Kick an onside kick. They do not get it back. Game over. Bears win 38-31. Big win for the Bears on the road. Hostile environment. First game back for Jay Cutler. He never did make that last interception, that last mistake that I was expecting him to make. And look, I think Trestman made the right decision by going back to Cutler. I wouldn't have done it, but if Cutler's your guy, and he's supposed to be the guy in Chicago, you needed to do this. You needed to go back to Cutler, and this was the game to do it. I mean, you don't have a lot of games to waste time with. Okay, if you're going to do it, you need to do it against a team that doesn't get pressure on the quarterback, and the Browns don't get pressure on the quarterback. You need to do it against a team where you feel like, hey, we've got some leeway to make a couple of mistakes, allow him to shake the rust off, and we can still win the football game. Well, this is your man right here. This is your team. 4-9 Cleveland Browns football team that has struggled to get pressure on the quarterback. Honestly, they don't really score a lot of points, but they can ratchet it up and score some points. But you helped them out here. You got the Jay Cutler pick six. You got the Martellus Bennett scoop and score. And then you got the other Jay Cutler pick that leads to a field goal. That's 17 points. So you help them generate offense in this game. You take those turnovers away. The Browns probably don't even sniff 20 points in this game. So this was the game to bring him back. If you wanted him to come in, get his feet wet, get reacclimated to this team, this was the game to do it in. And I thought Tresman made a great call. Again, I wouldn't have done it, but that's why they pay him the big bucks. That's why he's the head coach. He made a smart decision by bringing Cutler back. If he's your guy, and I believe Cutler is your guy in Chicago, then you need to bring him back. And there doesn't need to be a dispute as to who's your starting quarterback. He's your QB, and you run with him. And that's what Mark Tresman and the Bears did, and they get the win in this football game. This division is there. If you want it, the Detroit Lions obviously don't want it. So it's in your hands. The ball's in your court. You win out, you win the division. It's simple as that. If you want this division, you want to go to the playoffs, you want to host a playoff game, you want to be the NFC North Division champions, win. There's nothing else to talk about. Win. You do that, and you're in. You do that, and you're the NFC North 2013 Divisional Champions. That has a hell of a ring to it, doesn't it? Just win. It can all be yours if you just win. You got a Week 16 matchup, then you got a Week 17 matchup versus Green Bay. Week 16, Philadelphia. Got to go to Philadelphia. Win. Win. That's all I can say to you. You lose, and then all of a sudden, that Week 17 matchup versus Green Bay is for the division. Because I think Green Bay is going to handle their business, and they're going to come into that game with every opportunity and every single intention of winning that game and winning the division. It's your job to stop them. You got it at home. Take care of business. Win. You did it here. You're 8-6. You're on top of this division now. Detroit goes and lays an egg on Monday night, loses to the Ravens. You're now in sole possession of first place. Win. It's all yours. Win. So, that's going to do it for this video. Bears get it done. 8-6. One last thing. Cutler has to make sure. This is the one thing that I love about Josh McCown during his stretch is that he was judicious with the football. Everybody got their fair share. Earl Bennett caught the football. Martellus Bennett caught the football. Alshon Jeffrey went bananas. And Brandon Marshall still was getting his targets. Do not force feed the football to Brandon Marshall. We know Cutler has a safety blanket issue with Brandon Marshall. He loves throwing Brandon Marshall the football. And when all else fails, he's looking for Brandon Marshall. When there's nothing else open, he's looking for B. Marsh. Don't fall into that trap and force feed. Those two picks in this game, both targeted to Brandon Marshall. Don't fall into the trap of looking for B. Marsh and getting yourself in trouble. So that's going to do it for me here on this program. I thank you for joining me. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here in the lab room. I thank you for joining me in week number 15, letdown weekend. You didn't have a letdown here. You took care of business on the road. It was a little dicey throughout the game, but you got it done. That's all that matters. You go to 8-6 on the season. More importantly, you're now atop the NFC North. You want to stay there? You want to call yourself division champs? Win. Just win.